Good morning, everyone. My name is Stacia Tyler, and I'm here to present the portal training. If you guys have any questions related to portal only, please type them in the question area. We will get to the app tomorrow, and we will get to the admin stuff on Thursday. So again, any questions portal related, please enter them in the question area. When you first open up our portal, the first screen you see is our driver screen. This gives you a quick snapshot of what all the drivers are doing, how many are in each duty status up here. You can sort by individual drivers. So if I pull myself up, for example, it lets me know the vehicle I'm in, my status, the last time I checked in, the position. So I'm 4 miles northeast of Chicago, my time left until break, my drive, shift, and cycle time I have left, when I gain time and how much time I will gain, next violation, my time to next violation, if I have any uncertified logs, and if I have any current violations associated with me. This can also be sorted by terminal. So if you are a larger company and you have terminals, let's say out in California and then one in Florida, and you want to see only what's going on in your California terminal, you can pull that up. It will resort as you see up here. These numbers change, and there's just a 1 now in the off-duty because we're only looking at one set of logs. And the last way is by active and inactive drivers. Defaults to active drivers because that's typically what you want to look at. But an inactive driver is either a seasonal employee or a driver who has left the company. Once you mark them as inactive, then they will no longer get billed, but we will still retain that data for the 6 months and 1 day that is required. The next page we have is our logs page. Let me go ahead and pull myself up and a log that has some data to it. So this is where you can see individual logs of individual drivers for individual days. And up here at the top, it gives you 4 different options. You can export the data. If this was a certified log, we can pull up the PDF of the certified log. We have concepts of documents. This is pictures that the driver might have taken of anything. It could be a scale ticket, it could be an accident photo, it could be a bill of lading, any kind of document that they want to have recorded and attached to their logs, they can do that. They can enter in reference numbers and notes. And then you can pull up the image here, for example. And the last one is we have a log edit form. This is just a simple form that the drivers can fill out if they want to have the edits done from the portal. The drivers are also able to edit from the app. Off to the left-hand side here, we have some driver information, carrier information, vehicles driven, mileage, shipments, if there's any co-drivers or any trailers that are used. Now, I put in a bunch of edited entries with not good mileage, which is why you're seeing that negative miles off to the side. This is just a test account that I used. Up here, you can see the log graph. The first 4 are standard lines: off-duty, sleeper berth, driving, on-duty, not driving. And then if you're in the oil and gas industry and have that exception chosen, you'll get the 5th line as waiting at well site. If I scroll down a little further, you can see any exceptions that are associated with the driver. We do support U.S. and Canadian rules and exceptions, as well as inter- and intra-state rules and exceptions. If I scroll down even further, you can see all of the transitions that have happened throughout the day. And if there's any edited entries, will show up as this asterisk to let you know that there was an edited entry. To edit an entry, for example, we'll edit this status and say I was actually off-duty. We'll click off-duty. Everything else looks great. We'll change the note to off-duty, and then click Save at the bottom. Now, this will not take effect until the driver has either accepted or rejected that change from the app. So once you make an edit on the portal, it doesn't automatically change the grid chart. It does not change the status listed here, but it will send a notification to the driver to accept or reject, since they are ultimately responsible for their own logs. We also have these 3 dots here off to the right-hand side. This gives you the ability to do a whole bunch of stuff with the logs themselves. The top one is edits. You can do multiple edits at once as long as it has the same reason code. Form, you can upload a form like that log edit form or an acknowledgement of a violation, a bill of lading, any kind of form that you have access to on your computer, you can upload and have attached to the log. These next 4 things are available on both the app and the portal, so either the driver can take care of it or it can be done by the fleet manager or dispatcher from the office. You can enter in a shipment number like a bill of lading or a manifest number. You can enter in a remark, which is like a note you want to have associated with the log. You can add exceptions. The exceptions will show up for the region that the driver is in, so it'll show up with just the U.S. or just the Canadian exceptions. And the last one is status or add status. This could happen with a driver if, for example, they were driving, they finished the day, they went on duty, they did their post-trip inspection, and then they left for the day. But they forgot to either switch to off-duty or they forgot to log off, which also prompts you to go off-duty. They're going to stay on duty until the next time they come in, so all night or all weekend long. And this is going to have them incur at least 1, if not multiple, violations. In order to rectify the logs and make them correct for what actually happened, you would have to add a status. So you would add a status at, for example, 5 o'clock at night for when they left, and then that status will carry on until the next status change that occurs. The next section we have is location. This shows you your location on the map. So it shows just the last known location, and if you hover over it, it'll give you more detailed description. So the driver name, the vehicle name, the location that they're at, and their drive, shift, and cycle time they have left. And by looking at the legend at the top, you can see that these dots do change color depending on how much time they have available. So green is when they have plenty of time available. Yellow is when they have 3 hours or less. Red is 1 hour or less, and then gray is if they're off duty or they're not driving. The next section we have is violations. This is where you can see any violations that the drivers have incurred. If you hover over the violation, it'll let you know that, for example, this was a Canadian one. This was a shift violation. They have different Canadian violations in here. We have different driving hour violations, rest break violations. So you see that if you hover over the rectangle, it will give you a more detailed description of the violation. You can also sort this by individual drivers, by terminal, as well as by violation type. And we do cover all of the U.S. violations as well as all the Canadian ones. The next section we have is unidentified driving. This occurs when a driver gets in a vehicle, a tablet or a phone is already in there and connected to the ELD device, but they forget to log in, and nobody's logged into that tablet. All the information is still transmitted to the tablet, but the tablet doesn't know what to do with it. So the next time somebody logs into that tablet or phone, all that information is sent back here to the portal and will need to be doled out by the fleet manager. The next section we have is reports. We have 9 different reports. The certified logs is the same thing that you can get from that logs page. It gives you individual logs of individual drivers on individual days that are certified only and is available in PDF only. The multiple driver logs report, this gives you some of the same information you can get from the certified logs. It gives you all the transitions that have happened throughout the day for the drivers. but this can be pulled for 1 driver, 2 drivers, 10 drivers, all drivers, or anything in between, as well as it can be available in PDF, Excel, as well as CSV. The next section or next report we have is the DVIR. These are individual reports for individual inspections of individual pieces of equipment and available in PDF only. The edit log, hours worked, and hours and miles are available in PDF, Excel, CSV, are available for 1 driver, all drivers, or by terminal, and available in miles and kilometers where it applies. And then this last report is the Eld Csv Output File. This is the same report that you get from the tablet through a data transfer for ELD mode. The only difference between the two is the one from the tablet or the phone is an encrypted file, where the one from the portal is the unencrypted version so that you can test and run it.
Actually, we have a quick question.
Okay.
Can you mass download the DVIRs?
No, you have to do them individually. Same with the certified log. So if I pull this up, you should have some in the last 30 days. You can click here and pull up them individually this way. You can pull them up individually also from the Dvir History section, which is what I will do, get to next. So Dvir History, this shows you the history of all the DVIRs that have taken place. You can sort it by equipment, by driver, by terminal, and or by date range. This is the same report that you would pull from the reports page. It's just also available here on the Dvir History page. So if we look at a DVIR, we can see that there was a defect with this DVIR. We can expand it out and see any of the DVIR areas or inspection areas that were inspected. If we expand it out one more time, we can see all the inspection points that were inspected. And you can see that there was an issue here with the headlights and that it was a low priority issue and that there was a headlight burnt out, for example. From here, the mechanic or a fleet manager or whoever has access to the portal can click on the pencil. They can enter in a repair number, say whether the repairs were made or not necessary, and then enter in any kind of note. Now, this information will be sent back to the tablet or the phone, assuming connectivity, so that the next time this piece of equipment is used with this DVIR form, this information will be there for the driver. They will see the triangle as well as if the repairs were made or not, and any notes that the driver or the mechanic might have put in, just to let them know to pay extra special attention to that area because there is an issue or there was an issue at one time. The next section we have is malfunctions and data diagnostic. This is when you miss pieces of data. So we do take the data every 3 seconds from the ELD device to the tablet or phone, and then we transmit from the tablet or phone back to the portal every 5 minutes. That 5 minutes is settable to 1, 3, or 5 minutes within the portal as well. When you're missing a piece of data, it is perfectly acceptable and can and probably will happen at some time. As long as you're not missing one piece of data for an extended amount of time over a 24-hour period, if that occurs, then you will get what's considered a malfunction. All malfunctions need to be cleared as soon as possible. Most malfunctions, we stop collecting data when that malfunction is thrown. The tablet will tell the drivers to revert back to paper logs when a malfunction has been thrown. Once it is cleared, everything should go back to working as normal. But if they continue to get malfunctions, then we really need to look into the system and diagnose what is going on. The next section we have is log edits. This can be sorted by driver, by whether it's accepted, rejected, or outstanding, by terminal, as well as by date range. And this will show you all the edits that have occurred within the account. There is a change by field over here. So if there is no name here, then you know that the driver made the edit themselves. If there is a name, then you know that a fleet manager or somebody who has access to the portal itself made that change.
Stacia, we have another question. When the drivers have malfunctions and turn in paper logs, do we give them to OTS or keep them?
I don't know what OTS is, so you would need to retain that. You can enter that data in manually so that you have a full day's log in the electronic format. But we still do keep all of the old records logs on the tablet. So they will not be in violation. They still have access to all of those. So it shouldn't be an issue. But if you don't enter them into the portal, then or into the tablet, somehow get them into the system, you will need to retain those logs for that 6 months and 1 day in case you get audited. The next section we have is Ifta. This is where you can enter in your fuel receipts. So up here at the top, there's a plus sign. This lets you enter in a fuel receipt. This can be done on both the app as well as the portal. Reference and notes are optional, but all the rest of the information is required. From there, you would then click Save. There are 2 other buttons up here. You can upload a CSV, so if you have a lot of fuel receipts you want to upload at once, this will give you the instructions as far as all the different columns that need to be there, and then you just need to upload that file. Or you can also export all the data on this page. The next section we have is our Isto Reports. We have 4 different Isto Reports. The first one is Ifta. This gives you all the information you need in order to do your fuel tax reporting. So this is something that you would need to run. You see the note at the bottom that says we only keep the data for 6 months. For Ifta, you need to keep it for 4 years. So you'll need to run these reports and save them yourself. The next section we have is mileage by state. This is exactly what it sounds like. It gives you your mileage by state. The Ifta audit report. These are all the transitions that pertain to Ifta, like switching of vehicles or a border crossing. And the last one is a fuel summary report. This just gives you a summary of all the fuel receipts that have been entered.
Stacey, we have another question about driver's logs. How do we get driver's logs for the end of year taxes?
I don't believe that's a requirement from ELD, or if you're doing your Ifta reporting, then you would do that from here. If not, then you would need to print out all of those logs, I guess. I'm not sure how that pertains to ELD, to be honest. The next section I'm going to get into is there's a few things here in the settings menu that I would like to cover regarding the portal and the portal setup. So this is our alerts page. We click on alerts. We do report on 5 different things you can alert upon. First one is a violation warning. This happens 1 hour before a violation is going to occur. The second one is violation notification. This is when a violation actually occurs. DVIR failure. This is when you mark a DVIR as unsatisfactory. This is not when an individual point has failed. This is when the driver marks the entire vehicle as unsatisfactory. Pre-trip DVIR. This is when a driving event has occurred before a DVIR has been performed. And the last one is unidentified driving mode. This can alert you upon if any unidentified driving events have appeared within your accounts, so that you don't have to keep checking that page. These top 4 are very configurable. You can configure it based off of terminals, based off of individual or groups of drivers. It can be sent via email or SMS to one or multiple people. They just need to be comma separated. The next section I would like to show you is DVIR form. This is where you can create your own custom DVIR forms. We do come with 9 standard, but if they don't somehow fit your business, then you can come in and create your own form. You enter in a form name. Image is optional. Our standard image is just a big gray semi. But if you wanted it to look like a pickup truck or an oil and gas truck or a flatbed, you can upload any kind of image that you would like. From there, we enter in inspection areas. These are large areas that need to be inspected. For example, the truck. And then from there, we would click on DVIR points. So the wrench. We would enter in brakes. We'll click on the wrench again. Tires. And you would continue going through that process until you've built out your entire form. We do support multiple languages. We do support English, Spanish, and French Canadian. So all of those should be there for the DVIRs. But if you need any other languages, you might need to create those custom DVIR forms. And then you would click Save. We have a lot that are already in this account, so I'm not going to save at this time. You can edit any custom DVIR forms. You cannot edit, change, or delete any of the standard forms. Shannon, do we have any more questions?
Eld CSV output work. Oh, does it work in AOBRD mode? This is back a little bit.
For what was it? The CSV output file?
Output, yeah.
I believe it will work from the portal, but it doesn't give you an option to run it from the tablet because there isn't a data transfer file for AOBRD. That's not something I have ever tested, to be honest. So I believe you can still create that report, the Eld CSV output file, but it's not something that's tested because it's not something that was created for the tablet.
And is there a way to filter DVIRs that have defects that have not been addressed yet?
No, we only here show the full report. You could sort it by drivers. This doesn't show here on the Dvir history page. Let me pull up the DVIRs. You can sort by defect. You can sort by equipment. You can sort by repair, so you can see whether repairs were made or not, by inspector, by type, by date. So all these are able to be sorted by.
Are both a pre-trip and post-trip DVIRs required?
Yes, I believe they are.
And will our portal be available in Spanish?
When will what be available in Spanish? All of our standard forms are in Spanish and English. And if you want to set your tablet or your portal, you set your computer settings to a language, and that should translate into the portal. So I know it works for Spanish, English, and French Canadian.
Will the ELD device store logs if drivers do not connect the ELD device with a mobile device?
Will what work?
Will the ELD device store the logs if drivers do not connect the ELD device with a mobile device?
No, there isn't any caching that we support at this time. We are looking into supporting that here in the short term, but it's not something that we have developed yet. Also, not all devices that are supported do support caching. So some don't have memory. Do we have any other questions?
That's all I see for now.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. I hope this is very helpful and that you can use it as a training video. Have a great rest of your day.